Do a topic that is a big deal for us soccer fans in America, Mexico, North America in general, and that's it's U.S. and Mexico. Honestly, us fans for U.S. and Mexico, and that's our big, massive failures at this summer's Copa America, as we both fail to get out of the group stages. Big, big, big disappointment, huge failure from both of us, both of our national teams. And we normally don't unite on anything because of our rivalry, but we us fans can both agree is we're both in a very garbage period amongst this team. A little bit more so with Mexico, but still with the U.S. too at the same time, not being able to get out of Copa America group stage with Panama, Bolivia. Absolutely woeful. And yeah, I want to discuss how both teams can turn around their fortunes ahead of the 2026 World Cup. I think with the U.S. is a lot more simple than Mexico. I don't know if Mexico has, because look, the difference between the U.S. and Mexico is the U.S. has issues with coaching, has compared to Mexico. They do have issues with the federation, but not to the likes of Mexico, and the quality in terms of players and the way that they perform for their clubs, not something of concern for the U.S. Mexico, there's a real lack of quality and athleticism amongst this Mexican national team. They get outran. The quality amongst the players. You look at teams in the past from Mexico, over the past few years or so, you would hardly find Liga MX players in the starting lineup. Now half the starting lineup is Liga MX players. You're having to get dual nationals like Quiñones, and I forgot the Argentine Funes Mori. Because of the real lack of quality amongst this team. And the Mexican national team, they never had to worry about that sort of real lack of quality amongst the team, having to recruit dual nationals. They never had to worry about that, and they find themselves in this huge desperation. And I think I don't think there's time to turn it around, because if you look at the generation of players coming up, for number one, Mexico didn't qualify for the Olympics, so it shows the oil well is drying up in terms of youth talent. And this is a Mexican federation that really takes these youth games seriously. All the youth World Cups, the Olympic games, they take it very, very, very seriously. And the fact that Mexico weren't able to qualify for the Olympics shows where we find ourselves in at this. Sorry, I've been sick over the past few days. But it shows how much of a difficult position that Mexico finds themselves in. But yeah, real lack of quality amongst this team, and I don't know. There's no real fix for that entering this World Cup, because World Cup comes up in 2 years, which will blow by really fast. Liga MX players or owners, they need to be more willing to send their guys off to Europe when they're younger as well, so that they can develop in Europe and really take the next level. But Liga MX players, owners, and they're all worried about their pockets and making more money, and don't really care about the enhancement of the rise of the Mexican player and the rise of the Mexican national team. And at least with the U.S., there you see the element of a little bit of cooperation between the MLS and the U.S. Soccer Federation. I don't see anywhere near that sort of level of cooperation between Liga MX and Mexican Soccer Federation. And again, that's a big worry. And the lack of quality is there. I mean, you look, the guys that look at us, this Mexico team, some of the main guys, Santiago Jimenez, a guy that a lot of people in Mexico wanted him to start after spending a lot of time on the bench, despite having a good season at PSV. But now, now it's shown why these past Mexican managers, including Lozano, have been reluctant to really, start Santiago Jimenez because he's just not good enough. He's really, really not good enough. Nowhere near the level of a caliber player to be starting for this sort of national team. He provides no real fear factor for opposing center backs. He's not clinical enough. I don't really see as a striker, what part of his game is absolutely brilliant. I just see another guy, honestly, and it's amazing to me that this is the guy that Mexican fans hype up week in and week out, because I have to be honest, I don't see much games at PSV, so I don't know what he's doing there, but I do know what his transfer value is listed at, and based on the games that I've seen him play for Mexico, he is not a $50 million player. That's absolutely ridiculous. He's not at that level. Even with this inflated, economy that we're in right now for these soccer players, there's no way he's a $50 million soccer player. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And yeah, it's a hard place Mexico finds himself in, and I don't think there's a real solutions to turn around for the 2026 World Cup. As far as the U.S., even though they have major corporation issues and all that, but for the U.S., quality is not the issue. This is the I don't like using the term, but this is the golden generation in terms of quality that this U.S. soccer team has in terms of what they've produced. A lot of real talented players that play for some very good European clubs. We don't have the odd MLS player in there or not. No, this is a straight European 11 and a 11 with the Weston McKennie that plays at Juventus. Timothy Weah plays at Juventus. Giovanni Reina, who plays for Dortmund that went on loan to Nottingham Forest. Christian Pulisic, who plays at AC Milan. This is a lot of very elite, talented players, but they don't play near that sort of level that they produce for their clubs, for their country. A few of them do. Christian Pulisic, he steps it up for his country, but apart from that, the level of performances these players provide for their clubs and national team is different. There's a weak mentality amongst this U.S. men's national team, a huge, huge weak mentality amongst this U.S. men's national team, and it's really, really alarming because you look at some of the quotations and comments coming after the game talking about like from Matt Turner, talking about how this team is still going in the right direction despite the result. Even if you believe that, that's not something you say in that moment. Getting eliminated in the group stage at Copa America, there's no positive spin of it. You didn't get out of a group with Bolivia and Panama. Stop trying to make a light out of the situation. There's not a situation where the light ends on the end of the road or whatever that saying is. That's not the situation you find themselves in. It looks dim right now because there's not been any sort of improvement since Berhalter came in. Like compared to the past U.S. men's national teams, this team has not done anything different than them. In fact, in some stages they've been worse. And this is a team that has much, much, much more quality than the past U.S. men's national team. And another concerning thing is since the 2022 World Cup, which is supposed to look at the first experience, the major international tournament experience for a lot of these guys for the U.S., since that World Cup in 2022, there has, no improvement at all whatsoever, no real style of play in terms of how we want to go after it. Each game looks different. It's just no real, in terms of being able to dominate a game, no improvement since then. And in that time, they decided Berhalter is should continue on as the job. But Berhalter, what has he done? He's a big part of it. So for me, I think the biggest thing that they can do to improve it is the coaching change. Change the coach, not just because he's, tactically the X's and O's, he's not good. But also, the players need someone that will bring a winning mentality and will really strike fear into the players. These players, they kind of have a yes man in Greg Berhalter right now, and these players need somebody that they fear. And so, I don't know what kind of manager could be that. I don't trust U.S. Soccer Federation to get it right. but I don't think it can get much worse than Berhalter. So I think, fire Greg Berhalter so that there's not only a change of, just how good the manager is, because this manager right now the US have is not good enough in Greg Berhalter, but also change the mentality and the culture amongst the team, which really needs some open heart surgery. But it's interesting. I don't know how these teams will turn their fortunes around. I think it'll be easier for the USMNT, but still, I think it'll be I don't know. It'll be difficult. For Mexico, I think it's almost virtually impossible by 2026 to really fill out a potential